Hello and welcome to Thoughts in the Green Room with your host, Jeff Mays. This week's topic, well, there isn't a topic this week. I'm doing the second interview officially on the Thoughts in the Green Room platform, and with me here today is Stevie Jay.
Hey.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Why is Stevie Jay here? Because he is a Toronto artist for another 6 days?
Less than that. 5 days.
Another 5 days? 4 days?
20, I don't know.
20, whatever that
Someone
is.
do the math. We're actors. We don't do math.
Exactly. For another couple of days, Stevie Jay is a Toronto artist, a great friend of mine, someone I've worked with for many years. Actor, writer, clown, producer, the list goes on, I'm sure. And want to spotlight a local artist before we lose him to the States. So welcome aboard.
Thanks.
Yeah. And a special welcome as well, and exciting point for me that you're only my second interview. So this is all a new format for me, new test, which you're helping me explore. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Which actually is a good segue into the things that you and I have done, because you have always helped me to explore new avenues and new projects.
Yeah, well, we did it together.
Together.
Yeah.
But to that point,
the
first thing we came on board together with was Bad Dog Theatre.
Yeah, the second short play festival.
Yep, and that was Cubicle Chronicles, written by Kent Lamb.
Yep.
An interesting show.
Yeah.
An interesting director, something we bonded over.
Yeah.
And from there we moved forward to Mirador Productions.
Yeah.
Now Mirador Productions, of course, was your brainchild.
Yeah.
And something that I got onto the tailcoat of.
Yeah.
So let's start there, because I think, from my knowledge of you, that's sort of like the beginning of the rise of the Stevie Jay star.
Well, yeah. I mean, like at that point, I'd already been in Mike Kennard's The Hollow with a whole ton of amazing clowns at Can Stage. But
it's a great show.
Yeah, and we might talk about that in a bit. But,
absolutely, yeah, we can definitely come back to
that. But I'm just saying, like, I'd already kind of like had a couple sort of things sort of going, wow, okay, so people are hiring me and whatever. And so I got hired to be in Charlotte's Web at Stage West in Mississauga. And it was like a sold-out show. It was amazing. We ran for, I think, at least a week. And I think they were talking about an extra week, but then scheduling there, whatever. It was specifically for March break, obviously, whatever. So I saw how amazing that was. And my family, I'm lucky enough that my family has a place up north in Muskoka. So for years, I grew up going to see the Muskoka Theatre Festival, which was no longer there. And then there were two other companies up there at the time. And I can't remember whether I auditioned that year that I came to you to talk about Mirador, or whether was anyway. So I when they gave me the script at
Stage West,
they gave me so like it was from a company out of the States, so I could get the same rights to do this play. So, and I was like, this is awesome. So basically what I did is I asked a bunch of the people from that play, and then wanted a whole bunch of people that I knew to be in some of the other parts. And not that I didn't want to also hire the people who were in the play with me that you guys took the parts of, but it's just I didn't know them that well or whatever. And this was, and I knew that I wanted to work with you again. So yeah, and on top of that, like, from all the sort of clown stuff I had done where you do performance clown and it's black box and you create the whole scene and it's through imagination with very minimal set and that sort of thing, I thought, like, that's the way we could do it, quick and dirty, but still, like, tell an amazing show, In fact, I don't like to say still, like, tell an even more amazing show, because so much imagination is used without tons of money to make huge and massive sets. You tell it through the physicality and all that sort of thing. So then I asked you to join on, and you were like, yeah, absolutely. You're like me, and I think almost any actor, someone says, I want to hire you or a job, and you're like, sure, yeah,
okay,
yeah. So then we went up there, and then it was funny because we had a couple of hiccups, starting with the theater space up there, and including the fact that they didn't, the person running the space didn't actually know how to run the lighting rig. And then I find out that you had done lighting before, and and on top of your theater training, had like studied and actually spent time as a technical director.
As a technical director and technician.
Yeah, so that was just a godsend. Whatever we, you said just give me an hour and I'll start giving you some setups.
I did.
Some.
So with Mirador, was it going to be a one-off show? Was it going to be Charlotte's Web for the summer, or did you have bigger designs on this idea of this company, this theater company you're doing up in Muskoka?
I mean, my idea was I had hopes that it would go on more than one summer. There was definitely a hole there, because even though there were two other theater companies, one wasn't really performing out of Port Carling, which is sort of like, not to insult the rest of the sort of those three lakes of Muskoka, of Joseph, Rosso, and Muskoka, but it is sort of like where the sort of center of all those meet, and then on the ends you have like Rosso, and then the other, like the town of Rosso, and then anyway, so it was missing something there. I'm trying to be so PC, not so anyway, and then the other theater company was sort of bouncing between Port Carling and Gravenhurst, and they were doing, mostly adult musicals.
Right.
And after seeing like theater for young audiences, and how like we created what I wanted was family theater. So the shows would be so incredible with the physicality, and it was panto and whatever, that it would be great for both the parents and the kids. I mean, we did mostly draw children, but mostly. I mean, the parents would be all in the back, because most of the time the kids sat near the front. We did have chairs and all that, but you were there. They would laugh their butts off.
And good theater, good film for a young audience also applies to and draws in an older crowd.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So you saw an empty space in the Muskoka area that you were accustomed to. You grew up with theater there.
Yeah.
And if I heard correctly in there, gleaning a little bit about it, you wanted to give back a bit.
Yeah, I mean,
take it forward.
Yeah, take it forward, and obviously, I wanted to create work for myself, and it's funny, you have a Crow's Theater on there. I also kind of was dating a girl at the time. We're not going to mention her name just because I don't want to. Not that any reason. It's just I don't want to mention her name because maybe she doesn't want to be mentioned.
Right. Absolutely.
But
you've got no permission slip.
So I wanted to make something for myself, for you, for other people. I wanted to add something to the community. And I also kind of wanted to have my girlfriend do have a role. She was an actor as well, and. So all those things combined, I'm like, why not? Let's do it. And knowing that it has such a great success rate that I saw here, and then also realizing things like Lion King and all that had gotten so huge, but people, I wasn't seeing a ton of this until I got hired there, of some of like the traditional, Charlotte's Web, and then we did Stuart Little, and we did Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, and Ugly Duckling. Those things weren't being done. So it's like, let's bring those in.
Absolutely. And from that initial vision, with the hopes that it was going to go forward, what was the time? How long did it go for? Is it still going? I know it's not still going, but our audience doesn't.
Yeah. So. No. Well, yeah. You and I. I mean, because of, even though we still had a fair amount of audiences, the costs sort of went up, and some of the audience, it did shrink, and it really shrank, and it shrank with the evolution of home theaters.
I agree with you. That's changed our industry dramatically.
Yeah. So, it's easy for the parents just to plunk their kids down, and not to say that the parents were bad, but, plunk their kids down in front of their home theater in Muskoka, where they have these, whatever, and, and then they can watch Lion Witch and the Wardrobe on, DVD, and, they've only paid for it once, and that's it. So I think that was part of it. We also evolved beyond it. We straight up, we tried to get funding. We were told that here and there we were going to get funding, but from arts councils, not up there from Ontario Arts Council and stuff, but for whatever reason we didn't.
Never came through. And that's you're speaking to one of the challenges with any independent theater company, any independent filmmaker at this point, at any point in history, as far as I can tell. And I imagine going forward as well, it's going to be the ongoing challenge, right, of getting funding to be sustainable.
Yeah.
Right? We had a decent model, and we did well for a number of years.
Yeah.
But you can only go so far. And agreeably, you said and I agree with this, we grew out of that. But
Yeah.
that obviously wasn't your first major project.
No, but actually, one addition I'd like to add to that is that we did here and there. Both you and I, thought about touring some of the shows, but it was one of those things. It's like, well, then do you become a touring TYA theater for young audiences, and then also then you have to compete because there are certain companies that kind of control a lot of that, or you can try and do it. But at that time, the companies that had control had serious tight control over those sort of things, and then it really does. All of a sudden, you're out. You'd be traveling outside of Toronto, and at that point, you and I had both done a few commercials, maybe a couple of film things, and this and that. And so, I guess now it just sounds like whining, maybe. But it was like, do we become a touring company, and how do we organize that, and also organize all these other things that we want to do,
right.
And also, I didn't feel that the money that we were pulling, and maybe I didn't have all the right numbers from the other touring companies that I was talking to, but even at that time, the pay wasn't horrible. That sounded that you could pay your actors, but it was not really a living wage.
No, and that's still a challenge.
Well, it's even worse.
It's still a challenge, primarily with theater, to create a living wage off of the work, right? Yeah. But definitely not your first, as you mentioned, not your first major undertaking, and not the first time that you'd been hired and recognized for your skill set. You mentioned the Hollow earlier. Tell us a little bit about the Hollow. What was that experience like working with Mike Kennard?
Wow, that was pretty phenomenal. Basically what had happened is I had done a conservatory program at Equity Showcase called Victory Artists that was run by Kevin McCormick. And so again, like most acting programs, you have professional actors who are your instructors. And Mike Kennard of Mump and Smoot, who's won multiple Doras, was a director both here at Second City and in Chicago. Picked me out of that class along with T.J. Chesley, and put us in the workshop production of what was called The Hollow, which was, I don't think it was the same size cast, but it was close to something like 6 or 7 clowns and 6 or 7 bouffons in a play that was like a loosely scripted play that was then clown, the way a lot of clown turns are built, and commedia is built that way, right? So he picked us out and put us in that. I got to work with John Turner of Mump and Smoot. He was in the play. I got to work with Helen Donnelly for the first time. I'm going to forget so many different names. Steph Lawler, darn it, I'm forgetting her name. Oh, well, Suzette Arujo, one of my closest friends. Michael Cohen. I can't even remember.
Your memory serves you well. That's a number of years back.
Yeah. So then that was the workshop production, and then a year and a half later, and then during that time, because I had only done like Intro to Clown, and Mike, I guess I was really honored, saw something in me and whatever, and then I continued to do training with him, and obviously I learned so much from just that workshop production, because for weeks we would play at the old Canada del Arte or whatever that used to be above Holy Chow.
Okay, yeah.
That was the space we'd play in while we were building this workshop production. Then a year and a half later, when the full thing went up, then we were like 2.5 months at least building this almost 3-hour show that was going up at Can Stage, and I got to again work with all of that cast. There were a couple changes about who was playing what. I met Christopher Soch in there. Christian Lauren, he's another one he was in both of them. Bruce Horak was in it with me. Like, Bruce is one of my favorite performers, period. I guess Suzette was in it again. I'm just gonna end up like, I remember a whole bunch of names, but I'm gonna, whatever, end up spending like the whole time talking about their names. You know who you are. I love you. And
it sounds like it was.
Look it up. Google
the Hollow.
You'll see all the amazing people.
And it obviously was influential.
Yeah.
The people you work with obviously have a great impact on you from that show.
Yeah.
Where does that show sit in your career in terms of your development at that time, or where you are now because of it? How's that fit into Stevie Jay today?
I would say it's the greatest influence on my performance, because like true clown is, you have to be honest. Everything has to be purely honest, and it doesn't mean that like when I do a dramatic role, I'm acting like a beautiful idiot, a child of the gods, who is goofy and whatever. But it does mean it's like that honesty. It's like what's that? There's a exercise thing called natural movement or something like that. It falls into that, and it falls into caring enough not to care, and a whole bunch of things like that. So it totally influences everything. Yeah, it absolutely does. And it's funny, like whenever I see like, so my Michaela Washburn did a great interview, and I can't remember which, it's probably Now or something like that, for some dramatic role that she did that I believe she got a Dora for, Izzy and something, and she mentioned as well like clown being such a huge influence. I saw the play too; it was phenomenal. Yeah,
So clown is a huge influence
Yeah.
in your work today. I've seen that from personal experience with you, obviously.
mhm.
What drew you into clown the first time? What was the thing that said, I'm going to go and do a clown class or a clown show? What was the first moment of it?
Well, actually, it's funny. I've been told for years to do clown, and I was kind of like, clown, whatever. Even though it's funny, when I was a kid, one of my favorite plays I ever saw was The Anger in Ernest and Ernestine, by David.
Is that a man?
No. Came and worked with us on Moose Ploop.
Oh,
He's a family friend.
yeah.
I know
I know
him
you're
since I
talking
was a child.
about. Name escapes me too right now.
Yeah. Anyway, but still, yeah, people said, go do clown. I was like, oh, clown, whatever. And then it was because of the program that we had to do clown. We were doing Overruled, so Mike came in to help us build our characters through clown. Like, not the whole program wasn't that, but that was one of the classes we had during this 4-month full-time thing. And it was him picking me up, and also me discovering, like clown, like true performance, European, well, it's Pachenko clown, so it's a mixture of Amerindian clown and European clown, and then also like Pachenko's own like melding of that and what he created.
And I'm going to jump in there for
Yeah.
a second to qualify for anybody who doesn't know anything about clown. We're not talking about Bozo the Clown at the kids' birthday parties. We're talking about performance clown, and I will not do this justice, but just to qualify slightly, we're talking about something that has basis in full performance and theater that touches on drama and humor. No different than we're going to see some of the great artists of today on stage or screen do an amazing piece of work. Clown has that depth. It's often misinterpreted to be some fool at a kid's party who has a rubber nose and a
big
squeaky
shoes
horn.
and
Yeah.
curly hair. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest example would be Cirque. Cirque is more. I mean, and I know people who work. In fact, Helen Donnelly worked and wrote for Cirque, and Suzette worked for Cirque and whatever. And not to say there's not brilliant clowns and brilliant clowning in it, but a lot of it is spectacle, which is incredible. But it sort of morphs and whatever, and so that's its thing. But I think if you look at more of more of the sort of traditional European stuff is more where you'd see it. But at least that's something that people in North America can understand, is that sort of thing where you actually see a show and it may be funny and it takes you through this and that and whatever. But it's not some guy going,
Yeah. And that's not to take away from the great entertainment that's how a clown provides for
or
that,
like
that environment.
circus clowns, like those guys, like the ability they have to make a crowd of like 2,000 or whatever laugh, and they're this tiny dot, and
Yeah, absolutely.
that is clowning as well.
Yes, not taking away from that. Just wanted to qualify for audience of what you're doing, so there wasn't a misinterpretation of you with the big red hair.
Yeah,
And going on.
yeah.
So
I do wear a red nose.
which is allowed.
Yeah.
So you've been influenced by clown.
Yeah.
Hollow was one of the biggest, most immediate influences on you. You've gone forward from there.
Mm-hmm.
What in the recent time has been another major influence for you? What's helped you progress, I guess, is another way to say that.
Yeah. I mean, I learned everything from all my instructors, because, as you do, like I continue to take classes or take a workshop here and there, or even there when I'm teaching. You know, I'll be teaching something, and I could just, because you know when you teach, you're really just regurgitating everything down the line. You may use your experiences to back up whatever, but that's because what you're regurgitating is accurate. So then I'll like be like, oh yeah, I forget that. Or I'll explain it, and then the students will do it, and one of them or all of them will do something. I'm like, oh my god, I just learned something. And usually it's some of those sort of fundamental things that have become so natural for us, but you can actually, you know, it's like in improv, in all those sort of different things. They say it's like if you're like going, I don't know what's going to happen when I whatever, just go on with one thing. Go on like, oh, my toe hurts,
Right.
and just go with that. You know, something like that. So biggest influence right now, I think the main thing that's sort of being carried with me, and it was from doing, it was from being the lead in Blood Empires. So like that segue.
Yes, well done. Well done. Blood Empires, feature film, Stevie Jay, produced, pushed forward, got off the ground in conjunction with a host of other artists on that cast. But you can IMDb that, and let's come back to what was its influence for it. How did that affect you?
Right, I'm gonna add something to that though. I came on as a producer. Like I'm just because I don't want to make it sound like to take away from Peter.
Right, agreed.
Who Peter Rajesh, and he's gonna always say that I say it wrong, but Joypum. He came to me again. I was in a short film. He was on camera. He was a director in a program, and I was a professional actor going in to do their short film. And he pulled me aside, said I have the script, etc. So he's the one who initiated like the production, whatever. I did help a lot. It's true. Yeah. And then by at least I'd say not even a quarter of the way in, then yeah, it was him and I together making it happen. And by the end, yeah, we were completely equal in like completing the project and making it all go. I mean, but he wrote it, he directed it, he was the lead producer on it.
His brainchild, you got on board, the two of you drove that thing forward. And it's been this great influence, or another influence in your career. So what is that influence? What came out of that process of being so intensely involved in something? Yeah,
well, especially I think another addition to it is the fact that we shot it was like micro budget. Mm-hmm. We shot it in like under 100K. I'm not going to tell you how little because we might have to move distributors, and so I don't want them to.
Yeah. Let's not get lawsuits on the little show.
Yeah. So anyway, so I learned that like I learned a whole bunch of things, especially you got to grab all the tools in your toolbox when you're doing something like that, where you're producing, you're wearing so many hats. I mean, I was doing the call sheets by the end. Mm-hmm. And we had a great crew, but they're a skeleton crew, and they worked all day long so hard. We had to kind of let somebody go who was not sort of key crew, but they were sort of on the admin side. So I had to take on a bunch of stuff like that. So anyways, what I learned is, for example, one of the things, and I knew I was going to need this, is I did the thing where I said, on set, during all the shooting, everything, call me by my character name. Because when you're like, all of a sudden, like I'm calling about lunch or a location, and then all of a sudden it's action, it's like put the phone down and go, you gotta be in character the whole damn time. And I know other actors, I've heard so many actors who are like, and it's everybody's choice, right? But that's the thing, is don't hack on somebody else's choice.
And that's exactly what I was about to say, because that experience of what you're speaking about doesn't work necessarily for my own process, but I never hack on your choice, because this is what you learned for you about your experience, and it influences the way you work and the outcomes of your work. Yeah, that's something you've learned, which is important. So recognizing your own strengths, your own weaknesses, right? Yeah,
for sure. So. And in addition to like, understanding that sort of on a technical side, on the acting side, a huge thing that influenced me, or is an influence on me now, is finally accepting what it's important on stage, but every film instructor has ever said is it's not about the words. It's never about the words. It's about affecting the other person. It's about achieving your goal. It's about subtext. It's about listening while you're talking, listening
Yes.
and all that sort of thing. And I know everyone's like, oh yeah, da, 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 da. And it's like, no, but don't, as soon as it says action, do not say the words. You know what I mean? Like, it's just,
You need to be present, and that comes from listening.
yeah,
That
yeah,
comes from seeing and taking in what's going on
yeah,
around you. I'm in agreement with you on
yeah,
that one.
yeah. So
And
I think
each,
that's the biggest, but go on.
I was going to say, and each person's going to take that in. Again, like you
Yeah.
said, don't hack on on
No,
each
yeah.
person. Each person's going to find their own way in. But what I feel, or what I'm hearing, is some very sound advice from Stevie Jay. For many young actors out there, that may be your ticket. Who knows? But it's definitely not advice that you can just toss out the window until you try it. And
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with you. And that's been your greatest takeaway from that experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And in that, then, when it's not about the words, it's always about, achieving your goal, affecting the other person, being present, all that sort of thing, and not think about it. Like, you throw it as soon as, that's like basically, as soon as they say action, you throw all your throw them right the fuck out the window.
Mhm.
Throw them, everything right out the window. Just go after what you want and how you can, as we do right now, as I'm, talking and I want you to listen to me, I'm saying things and acting in a way that makes you do that. Same thing on film. Darn it, and I have one more point. Oh yeah, and so because of that, I also I've always tried to use, and not just because I'm a clown, but I remember Anna Mackay Smith way back in my first conservatory program, Players Academy. She said a physical choice, if you can do it, because sometimes you don't have the option of doing it, but you can maybe do it, like if you're strapped down, maybe just do a movement like that or something. A physical choice is always the strongest choice to affect the other person. Doesn't mean that you can't use the sound of words to affect other people. Like I just said, sound,
Right.
Versus like the sound of words.
Right.
But that was also huge, and it's funny because I've seen. No, I shouldn't say this, but I've seen Blood Empires way too many times. Not because I'm egotistical and want to watch
But you
it.
edited that movie.
Well, no, I didn't edit it. I mean, Peter edited it. I had
sorry.
to.
I thought you had edited that. My apologies.
No. I had to help with the distribution edits because we have a director's cut and distribution edit.
So you've seen this movie a lot.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot, and then also too, like, there's various screenings and this and that people wanted to see the film for certain events or whatever, or the film festivals and all that sort of thing. And it's interesting too, like when I watch other actors in the film, even though I've seen, I'll still see it, and I'll also be like, oh my, there you go. It's a physical gesture. It's a physical move. It's a something. And I don't mean like I'm listening, so I'll lean in, But it could be just as simple, like you're looking at someone and you just kind of go, it means I'm listening.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's what you're saying. Okay.
Physical motion. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, you mentioned something in this process about things you've learned and where you picked up, and one of those things you spoke about in there was teaching.
Yeah.
So in addition to being an actor, a producer, at one time proponent of pushing forward the TYA with Miro Productions, and among your many other hats, you've been and are a teacher of this craft.
Yeah.
What influence does that have? Like, how does that sit for you? Because you're doing so many other things. This has obviously got some level of influence as well. What's teaching do for you?
I don't know. I love it. I love seeing, I love getting tingles when I see somebody, get a moment or get it, so it's all about me. No, no, but it's like, I like sharing the information. You know me about that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm one of those people who is like, I don't want to hold on to everyone's like, gotta hold on to what they know. And, that's got to do with sort of more production and, who's going to get their thing on this or that or whatever. But I'm the type of person who's like, yeah, ask me about it. Like, I let people know about how the actor co-op. I mean, you actually helped us, whatever. But then I started telling everybody, you could do everything with the actor co-op as long as it is with all actor members and one outside. Anyway, so I like sharing information, and I do have I've taught so many people to water ski and wakeboard. I've taught people, I don't know, how to fix stuff. I've taught, like, it just, and I have a natural ability to pick out how people comprehend, because everyone comprehends differently. And for some
Yes.
reason or other, I can tell when somebody is not getting it because of the way it's being explained.
Now that, to me, is the
Yeah.
mark of a strong teacher. Because,
Yeah.
as you've just said, not everybody comprehends the same way. You can't.
Yeah.
You don't have a formula for teaching. You
No.
have a point A to point B that you need to get to.
Yeah.
And as a good teacher, you need to understand what the student needs to get to the point B.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Does it help you hone your own craft when you're teaching the art of acting or the art of clown?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just goes back to sort of what I was mentioning before. Is that it reminds me of what something I might have forgot of. I might have been taking for granted. I might have not had played as much as I could use. And then, of course, being inspired by and stealing the ideas of my students. No, I'm joking. But no, being inspired by them. And, like, it's not the same of, because it's true, like, when people say, like, like, oh, I learned so much from teaching kids. They teach me. It's like, kids are stupid. No, kids are not stupid. But, and you can learn from, like, the way they play and stuff. It is fun. But, it's different comprehension and different whatever. So I don't know whether that applies so much. But when I teach, like, older, like, teenagers or adults, obviously I'm gaining a bit. I believe I'm gaining a bit more, other than the way kids play. Like, there was this one kid. Oh no, I've forgotten his name. He was this cutest little kid, and when we were doing the Art Smarts program through Mirador, through the Muskoka Music Festival up in Art Smarts, right? Yeah. And his name's on the tip of my tongue.
Names are your challenge tonight.
Yeah.
Let it go.
And,
What did this kid
yeah.
teach us? You.
So I was doing. They were. I think these were senior kindergarten or grade 1. I think it was senior kindergarten. And so I had them do, and basically you go in, it was all sort of performance style people going in to work with different grades, and this was my grade. And it was there would then be a huge school-wide performance at that time. I think we performed at the Huntsville Theater, the new one there, I can't remember what it's called. And so what I did is I used the thing from improv, but I said, let's do, instead of one word at a time, let's do one sentence at a time, and we'll all act it out. So it's sort of a mixture of that and group format of what happens next. So basically, they had to sort of just listen to one line and the next person say the next. Not in the moment like we did in the classroom, and we had all the things written down, and then we went out with a huge board. No, I think we even had it projected. Yeah, we did. And so he wanted Curtis said, he goes, a snow mountain cheetah running up a snow-covered mountain, leaping off and touching a cloud and landing on a trampoline and jumping. I learned so much from that.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking. I'm not being, like, I was just like, wow, like, that imagination is, like, so incredible.
How old was Curtis at the time, roughly?
I don't know, knee-high to a grasshopper. Whatever you are in senior kindergarten.
Okay, so fairly young. We're talking like seven, maybe 8, if that. Probably younger though at senior kindergarten.
Yeah,
Okay.
Maybe they were junior kindergarten. They were little.
Wow, impressive.
Yeah.
Children's mind, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I was just like, where did you come up with that, and how do I get some of that in here?
Yeah.
Like
the art of play with acting, right?
Yeah.
So our fading light and our dimming set here, because I haven't figured out how to light this room yet, is helping us to bring this to a close. I got one other question for you. You're about to embark on the next major stage of career.
Yeah.
And I think, given what you're about to do, it's also a major life motion as well.
Mm-hmm.
What is that for the audience? What is that next major leap, and how has that been, the process of getting to where you're about to be in 4 days?
Yeah. Okay. I got my green card.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers to that. It's a hard process.
I got my green card to the U.S., so that's not a visa, because a lot of people hear green card and they're like, oh, you mean the visa? No, the green card. So it's 10 years that it lasts for, and you can renew it. And so anyway, so the process of that took about 3 years. Now, some of that was because Blood Empire was going to festivals, and so I was waiting on like that, all that sort of stuff you put into your application to show, your sort of how broad your because you apply under extraordinary abilities.
Right.
So it, obviously it shows how great you are. Let's just say that, rather than me trying to think of something intelligent to say. So yeah, that took 3 years. Green card, moving to LA. I'm trying to remember everything you were asking me about.
Ask you about the influence. Like, what was that process for you? And just share a little bit what's coming out of you. In 4 days, you're going to take a major leap, right?
Oh my! It's scary and exciting and whatever. I just want to throw this in, and I don't want. Maybe I'm bragging a little or whatever. You know about this, but just the fact that it's funny is that after I got my green card 3 years ago, the lawyer said to me, he goes, what's funny is when you get your green card, all of a sudden you're going to start landing stuff here. And so this past end of April, beginning of May, I landed a role opposite Damian Lewis.
Congratulations.
Thanks. In a film called Run This Town. And so my scene was actually with him, and it was just him and I for about like a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Well done.
So that's pretty awesome. And so that adds into like the excitement, and obviously adds into like, I have some meetings lined up with, you want to line up meetings with agents and managers and that sort of thing.
Gives you wind in your sails, going down there with that.
And when you submit an email or whatever, a letter, and you say, the last project I did this past spring was with Damian Lewis, and when you say opposite him, most people know in the industry that means that your scene is with him, and it's not like, I was the third guy in the back who just nodded. It's a scene. Yeah. Otherwise, the agent will find out and then be like, no, and shove you out the door.
That is fabulous. So congratulations on that, because I know the work that you put into it. I said, the audience knows, our friends, and I've seen the hard work you put into it. Yep. I've been with you through Mirador and many other productions. I was part of Blood Empires with you, so I've seen all the work that you've put into this career, this path that you're currently on, and you're very deserving of the work. And kudos to you. This is a bit of a send-off for you, in the fact that I don't imagine you're doing another interview on a Canadian station before you leave. So to that respect, I want to thank you for joining me here on yet another project, if you will, where I'm learning the ropes and testing things out, because this interview format is new for me. Mm-hmm. Lighting is obviously something I got to fix.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it's great.
It's like we're all, what?
Beautiful hotspot.
You at home, just set up, look for a room that's sort of a little bit white like this, like a little bit white walls, and just set some chairs over there, and you just be like, we're just all hanging out. And
you'll feel right in here.
And,
absolutely.
You can talk back, but we're not going to hear you.
Not really. So, with all that said, man.
Not really?
No, not really.
Not at all?
Not at all. I'll imagine it.
You can put little notes on this, right?
Leave a comment. Yeah. If you feel it's appropriate and you want to, leave a comment on the bottom. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, Stevie Jay of Many Talents, congratulations.
Cheers.
We wish you well on your journeys to the States.
Thank you very much.
And for all of you out there, that is your Thoughts from the Green Room with your host, Jeff Mays. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks.
I need a refill.
Working on it.